Alright, hello silly little gay people inside my computer. I hope you all are having a lovely day. I just kind of wanted to stop by and chat about some reasons I think Splatoon 4 isn't going to be coming in the Switch 2's first year or even first couple of years. Just a discussion I've seen a lot. I didn't have time to come up with a super scripted video for this week just because university has been keeping me ridiculously busy, but I want to keep that bi-weekly upload schedule, so figured, hey, why not? Might as well make some unscripted videos here. Hopefully not going to be the norm, but we'll see. Anyway, there will be more scripted videos coming eventually, just as soon as I'm not super busy. Anyway, so Splatoon 4. I've seen a lot of people talking about why they think this is going to be a super early Switch game, and we're going to have it revealed in the next few months, and a bunch of people were predicting it would be in the Switch 2 Direct that happened back at the beginning of this month. And I could not disagree more. I was really shocked that people were predicting this so often, and I'm just like struggling to understand what the mindset was there. Just because there's a lot of reasons that wouldn't really work. I mean, I guess first and foremost, if you look at the development pipelines of the last two Splatoon games, sure, there was like a 1-year turnaround between the end of content for Splatoon 1 and the release of Splatoon 2. But at the same time, you have to remember, that was after the Wii U, and the Wii U was not a success for Nintendo. It was, in fact, their worst-selling mainline home console. So, of course, naturally, they'd want one of the biggest successes of the Wii U as an early Switch 1 game, because, you know, they're trying to reestablish their reputation. I mean, that's why Switch 1's first year was so incredibly jam-packed with all these games, 3D Mario, 3D Zelda, Mario Kart, Splatoon. That's why all of this came in the first year, because they wanted to make sure the Switch didn't fail like the Wii U did. And then there's also the fact that, like, Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 are both playable on the Switch 2 already. They will be, because of backwards compatibility. When the original Switch came out, you couldn't play Splatoon 1 on that. They had to develop an entirely separate release. They had to develop Splatoon 2 in order to get any Splatoon content out on the Wii U. When you're going from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, you have both of the previous Splatoon games, which one of them only just ended their new updates, not even a year ago at this point. Like, new content ended in what, September? That was the last update we got? That was when Grand Festival was? It hasn't even been 8 months. We're not even a year after the end of Splatoon 3 content. And I think that's the biggest reason why we're not going to be seeing a Splatoon 4 anytime soon. If I had to guess, I think the earliest we might have it release is like end of 2027. I don't think Splatoon 2, I don't think a fourth mainline Splatoon game is in the cards for any sooner than that. Like, definitely not the first year by any means. And the other reason I think this is because of the studio that makes Splatoon. The studio that makes Splatoon is Nintendo EPD5. That's one of their main studios that works in Japan as part of like the main Nintendo company. EPD5 primarily works on the Splatoon series, but they also split that time with Animal Crossing. And I would be shocked if they released a Splatoon game on the Switch 2 sooner than an Animal Crossing game. There's two main reasons why. The first is that Animal Crossing New Horizons was the second best-selling game on the original Switch. I know like a part of that boost was because of the pandemic, but like at the same time, Nintendo would be crazy to ignore the demand for a new Animal Crossing. Especially because it's been like, what, 5 years since New Horizons released? And then they only ended content updates like a year after that. Like, I think that a new Animal Crossing would be a much higher priority for Nintendo to be working on and trying to get out within the Switch 2's first year, because they've already got Mario Kart, which is the best-selling Switch game. I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to double up on the two most popular games for the original Switch and say, hey, look, we have brand new versions. Animal Crossing is going to be coming out in May of 2026 or whatever. I would absolutely not be shocked if that was the case. And I'm, in fact, like that, put me on record as predicting that, because it's going to happen. I guarantee it. But, like, at the same time, especially considering how recent Splatoon 3 was, I think EPD5 is probably going to be putting all of their effort into a new Animal Crossing far more than they would be prioritizing Splatoon. I'm sure Splatoon 4's development has begun at this point, but at the same time, like, it's way too soon to have seen it, and I think Animal Crossing is much more likely to show up sooner. The other main reason is, like, I don't think they would have had enough development time to fully incorporate the results of the final Splatfest of Splatoon 3, or I guess the Grand Festival, because it's not the final Splatfest anymore, but they wouldn't have had time to incorporate the result of that into the development of this new Splatoon game yet. That's not how game development works. It doesn't happen that fast anymore. It hasn't happened that fast since the 90s. Because, like, a part of the reason that the result was able to be incorporated so quickly between Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 is because it was a relatively minor thing. Almost all of the result of that was incorporated into the single player, with, you know, Marie being the main tutorial helper character, as opposed to Callie being brainwashed and being part of the final boss. They probably had developed most of the story mode at that point and literally just had to figure out the dialogue once they found out the dialogue, and then the final boss, and then the Octavalley animations for Marie. That's it. That's all they had to do by the time Splatoon 2 was released. Whereas, when you look at between Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3, Final Fest was in 2019, Splatoon 3 didn't release until 2023, and so that's a 4-year gap, and the theme of, like, chaos was worked much, much more deeply into Splatoon 3 than the Callie versus Marie result was baked into Splatoon 2. I mean, chaos is the entire identity of Splatoon 3. Like, you have entire multiplayer maps, you have weapons, you have the story mode, kind of, not really, but, like, at the same time, like, it's baked so deeply in there that I cannot see them going back to the way it was handled between Splatoon 1 and 2, unless they were, like, really desperate to get another Splatoon game out, and there's no reason for them to be that desperate at this point. I would not be shocked to see, like, an update, like a performance patch or a Switch 2 edition sometime down the line. I wouldn't expect anything major from a Switch 2 edition, maybe just, like, mouse control, mouse support, maybe, like, they definitely wouldn't keep this exclusive to the Switch 2, but, like, maybe new weapons, new kits, like, just, like, I mean, I could be completely wrong about this, but I've heard from some data miners that they still found, like, evidence of additional third kits that were in the game. I don't know. I've given up hope for that at this point, but, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that did happen, where it's like, hey, we know y'all are waiting for Splatoon 4. Here's something to tide you over a little bit. Splatoon 4 is by no means going to be a year 1 Switch 2 game. I think thinking that is a little bit ridiculous and ignorant of how Nintendo works nowadays. I'm not calling you stupid if you thought that, but, like, when you're as deep in the weeds as I am, it's kind of like, you can tell, like, when certain things are going to happen from a company. You can't predict everything, obviously. Like, I had no idea we were going to get Kirby Air Riders or Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, but at the same time, like, you can't just release 2 games in a major AAA series back to back unless you're Ubisoft, and the quality of those games suffers completely. Like, that's just how it is. We haven't been able to get that quick a turnaround between games since the 90s and the early 2000s. But anyway, hope y'all have a lovely rest of your day. Did you manage to get a Switch 2 yesterday during pre-orders? I am recording this before the pre-orders go live, so I don't know if I managed to get one. I hope I did. I swear to God, if I don't, I'm gonna lose my mind or some shit. But anyway, y'all have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another video. Probably another unscripted one, but maybe, who knows? It might be another scripted. It might be an actual scripted video if I'm able to get my shit together. But I'll see y'all then. Have a lovely evening, and bye-bye now.